Hey guys, welcome back to the second video in my deck quest series. This one is a little bit different than the first one because I have a problem. A weird, red, blood-sucking problem. His flavor text would describe him as vicious, cold, cruel, intriguing, perceptive, charming, and irresistible. But yet, a card with these words attached to him has been underrepresented in all of Runeterra's history, and I'd like to talk about it. Vladimir's biggest problem right now is that in every Vladimir deck, he's not even the best champion for his own card package. And this really sucks, because he's not a card that's good all around. Sejuani, Twisted Fate, and Vi can go in almost every deck because of how good they are at providing a swing turn and their flexibility. But a card like Nautilus can pretty much only go in deep decks. He's very limited, and Vlad falls into this category too. He needs cards that benefit from his attack ability, and there aren't that many cards that have an effect when they take damage. When you run the Crimson cards, it's often better to just add a Braum, Swain, Sejuani, or even a Darius. The strongest part of the Crimson package is the Crimson Disciple and Transfusion. We've seen enough of this card being combat with Demolitionist for a lifetime though, and I'm happy to see the Disciple nerfed from 2 damage to 1 damage. But this is also an indirect nerf to Vladimir, who has already been quite weak to begin with. In the past, when you build a Vladimir deck, these are the cards you'll be looking at first. The Crimson Disciple, Crimson Aristocrat to have a ping and start enabling the self-damage effects, Crimson Curator as a value generator, Crimson Awakener, but not always because it can feel a little bit clunky sometimes, the Legion Veteran, another engine to power up your units that can get out of hand if left alive, and Transfusion, probably the strongest card in the entire package. There's also the new Basilisk that came with Targon. A very interesting card because it deals 1 damage 4 times, which is insane in a deck like this, and it's also targeted removal, something Vladimir decks generally lack. The downside is that it's 7 mana, and it comes attached to a body that feels a little bit clunky to use. When pairing Vladimir with a region, you'll often start with Freljord, for cards such as Elixir of Iron, because giving health while you're damaging your own units is very good. Take Heart, +3/+3 on a unit is extremely good, and it's easy to have something on your board that took damage in a Crimson deck. Braum, because the regeneration on him makes him able to take the pain and shake it off at the end of every turn. Ruthless Raider, because he's an early card with Tough to ignore the 1 damage pings. Ember Maiden to hit your board and the enemy board for 1 damage at the end of every turn. And even a card like Bloodsworn Pledge to grant 2 units permanent 3 health. And then there's Troll Chant, another new card that came with Targon. Honestly, I think this card is on the same power level as Transfusion for Vladimir decks, so it's an auto-include. And lastly, Scarstained Stefan, Unscarred Reaver, and Skarmoth of Vienna, the other self-damage cards from Another Mother. Oh, and there's also this big guy who seemed to be a forgotten card until he got added to the Aurelion Sol ramp decks. These are the more in-your-face synergy cards, but stuff like Omenhawk is just always good to have, and even a meme card like Iceborne Legacy could be considered if you're trying to generate a lot of the same cards from the Crimson Curator. So I'm not necessarily looking at finding the most perfect deck for Vladimir, I'm just exploring Vladimir in different regions. We're going to start with Freljord, like I mentioned, and I'll be back with Targon and Demacia after this game. I think I can keep the Elixir of Iron. What's the point in even playing this actually?
In the War Mother's name. What's that noise?
Alright, block me. Damn, can't believe it.
Fight or die. The Winter's Claw.
Cam stream. I have been doing that for a while actually. Welcome.
Let us get going.
Rom? I thought he was just a story.
Take heart.
Welcome, Elnaz.
My shield is my sword. We should be friends. It is easy, see?
I think playing Vladimir is the best here.
Dressed for the occasion.
Yeah, the emote finally got approved.
to get me out of here. Help is underway.
I'm just scared of his Braum leveling actually.
He has the winter's claw!
Yeah. Nuh-uh. Keep your hands off of my Braum.
My glory. How marvelous.
This could actually be really good.
First we fight. Show me your best.
Wait. I could just take hard her now then, right? I think I do it to get rid of this Braum before it levels. But if he has like a buff, then I'm screwed. I guess I shouldn't, because he's obviously got something to help him survive.
Sure, waste my
Man as maketh, my boy.
I learned
I
my
should have played that
stars.
first actually.
So eager to suffer.
I've proved myself to the War Mother.
fine.
Time for talking to. Good luck.
I should attack with Braum first.
First we fight. Have you met my
Like this?
shield?
I need to try to go for lethal here.
Let it flow.
Because his Braum is actually pretty close to leveling. I could level mine too though.
Stand behind Braum.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to kill that Braum.
One suffers, another thrives.
Still have take heart too, in case he buffs this with Fury of the North or something. Okay, his Braum died. That was my main priority. Even though I could like save that thing, I think this is a big enough swing. Okay, he might have like vengeance or something then, I guess.
Sometimes icy heart just needs warm smile.
Okay, I need some cards. I need like my curator or something.
If they're out there, I'll spot them. It is easy, see?
Okay, so he doesn't have mana for Ruination.
Brothers born from battle.
You like scars? You'll love me.
Okay, I'm open attacking here unless I get like a free mana. Okay. Oh, that's also really good though. Nah, I gotta open attack here.
The Star Maidens will
We should be friends. Look out for Reavers.
1 HP.
Do they need our help?
I kind of messed it up again by not pulling this first. That positioning. Drain battle. Yeah. I would hope that Vladimir wins a drain battle. You know, with him being Vladimir and all. Yeah, so I'm scared of they who endure.
Just another winter.
I think that's the main thing. They who endure would ruin me.
How can Brom help?
Old Vladimir would have lost. Yep. Imagine.
You can see the Demacian border.
Imagine getting out drained as Vladimir.
How marvelous.
Oh, thank God. This is what I needed to actually win the game. Or like close out the game. Overwhelm is really good actually in Vlad decks because of how much these things grow. I think adding a single copy of might be pretty good. This guy memes.
Flee now or burn.
Files for storytelling, not for buildings.
Yeah, I mean I'm open attacking again, right?
Time for talking. Good luck. Have fun.
36 damage. I mean, he can't block this, I think. Well, I mean, he can, but...
Ready the torches. You are safe with Brom.
Okay, this still kills him. Okay, we got him. Hey, Thanatos. Alright, that's Freljord, Vladimir. Probably his best region.
Just one.
Another fine scar.
Alert the village.
We got him. So next is Demacia.
Taste is impeccable.
Another problem with Vladimir is that he essentially wants to be played in a deck that constantly plays minions and keeps the board filled up. The more units you have, the bigger his effect will be when you're attacking with him. But how good is that attack really? You can deal a max of 5 damage to the enemy nexus, which is obviously a lot, but you're also dealing 1 damage to your own units, which makes it a lot easier for your opponent to trade into them. And while yes, attacking with the Disciple and Curator at the same time, or hell, even Brianna for an even bigger turn can win you the game instantly, but it's not really Vladimir that gets you to this point. He just makes you win more if you're able to build a board like that in the first place. Even enabling the effects with a card like Death Lotus so your opponent won't even see it coming, or a simple Transfusion, makes the deck archetype much better and consistent. And that word right there says it all. Consistency is key in a card game, because when you play cards, there's some inherent RNG because you're drawing a card every turn, and you never know what that card is going to be. Skill comes from manipulating some of the randomness and playing to your outs. Vladimir is not consistent, and you're forced to attack with him to deal 1 damage to your units, and sometimes this is not something you want at all. But to progress the deck you're playing, you have no choice but to do exactly that. So let's move on with Demacia, because they have cards that grant tough to totally negate that 1 damage ping to your own units. Lulu Zetshin. This hand would be good if we were attacking on odds. Like if he curves out like with the 1, 2, 3 drop, it's almost not even worth playing this.
Need Demacia.
So I'm having some frame drops.
Into the face.
Okay, so now he could Lulu.
Pledge yourself to the shadows. Break their spirits and their swords.
So this kind of telegraphs that he has no answer.
A delicious challenge.
So I'm just gonna do this. Like he wouldn't pull this away. Okay, so now both the units survive, so that's not too bad of a trade. Kind of wondering if I should open here.
Flavor and spice.
I probably should have.
My shield is yours.
Yeah.
Cohesive, aha! A disgrace.
Oh wait.
Off we go! Slow down! Look, Lou! I made a picks too! Hello? Aww! He's gonna be super happy!
I think I can wait for him to attack. Or I could just do this. Because he's probably gonna... I can pass, I think. And when he tries something, I'll do single combat in response.
Follow the wrong master.
I stand ready.
Maybe that was wrong. I don't feel too bad about that.
Stay resolute.
I've dressed for the occasion in red.
Is it adventure time, you guys? What do you say, Glow? That's yes!
Feel the sizzle. Delicious.
I care more about Garen because he's pretty close to leveling.
Hungry. Bottoms up.
Let's do it like that. I don't think he'll be able to deal with a leveled Garen. Wow.
And Lord and Master.
We must not relent.
Little deck on defense, yep. That's one big meme.
I see someone's been practicing their Adorabus spells, just like you showed me, Lulu.
He needs riposte to stop this, and if he uses riposte now, that means he cannot kill me for sure next turn. So it goes to the next turn, and this is not enough damage to kill me? Yeah, okay. And then Garen lets me rally, so he'd be dead no matter what. Alright. That's pretty clean.
We did what was right.
Alright, on to Targon.
Leveling up Vladimir gives him +1/+1 and regeneration. A few patches ago he got buffed so that instead of just dealing damage to the enemy nexus, he now drains the enemy nexus when he levels up. This was a very welcome buff, but let's think about why this buff was needed in the first place. It's because very often you're already at low HP trying to set up your self-damage cards and getting value from them while your opponent tries to beat you down. On the other side of the deck spectrum, sometimes you're playing against decks like Deep or the new Aurelian Soul decks, and you don't even have enough time to set up your crazy turns, while they simply play their own game while creating the kinds of value a Vladimir deck can only dream of. I really like Vladimir, but he just doesn't fulfill that fantasy of a, what is he? Vampire? No, Hemomancer? Anyway, he does blood magic, and while his visual effects look great and thematic, his ability doesn't actually fulfill that fantasy of being a blood mage for me. The very first deck I wanted to play when I started Runeterra was a Braum Vladimir deck, because I love the idea of having an actual thematic self-damage deck that made sense in the world of Runeterra. You have this cult of people that use blood magic, so it makes sense that they have an effect when they get damage, because that's what they are about. Their clothes are red, their voice lines express pleasure when they get hit, so it just feels satisfying to see it work out like that when it happens. Targon just got released, and while Soraka isn't here yet, they have a bunch of heal and buff cards that can keep your units healthy. This is the last game I'm going to show, and after that I'll be back with some of my ideas on how to rework Vladimir and some closing thoughts. So enjoy the Targon Vladimir deck, and I hope to see you guys back after the game. Okay, I'm keeping one Leona, for sure.
Bless the faithful and sear the heretics.
You bet your ass I'm gonna use that emote in Tyler's chat. Hell yeah. Oh wait, it's my turn.
Devotion to battle.
Free marketing.
Let me show you what I can.
Where would I be without you guys? Nowhere.
Punish transgressions.
Wait, pilfered goods? I think I need obliterates against deep fish.
The Isles will bloom again.
This is pretty good. This deals with Maokai.
Daylight warms the heart and lights the way.
Devotion to battle.
White people happy.
God, thief.
Is that worth it? Yeah, I think so, right?
Look what you did.
Killing Maokai. By super overcommitting. That's fine though, that's fine.
Protect our grove.
How close is it to deep? Not that close.
No mercy for heretics.
Kinda have to, right? I could do... No.
Warriors in.
That still doesn't get me anywhere.
Blood and guts, golden glory.
Okay. That makes Leona pretty good at least.
The dawn has arrived. With its light, the Solari will shine like the sun. You must burn like it.
Two voice lines overlapping.
The sun's splendor revealed.
Never lost a fair game, or played one.
My turn.
You're bluffing.
So if he tries to kill Leona, I have the guiding touch. This sucks though. He can actually heal himself. Vladimir. Very good.
You must be Lord Vladimir.
And you must be supper.
Okay, so what do I do next turn now? Okay. Is he dead next turn? I think I'm just gonna play this. Just get stunned. Everything gets +2/+2. Drawing Leona, weird champ. Yeah, it's unreal.
Sunlight burns in our weapons.
Oh, double stun. Let's go. You get a stun. You get a stun. Oh no. Oh my god. Okay. I think he's still dead, maybe? 3, 6. Is he still dead? How much? No, there's no way I can deal 9 damage.
The mountain knows me. I am the traveler.
He still had another one of those.
I need the reputation.
Keep searching.
Okay, so he's deep, but if he plays Nautilus, I'm instantly obliterating him. Yeah, the clown emote. I would like to play this too, I think. Okay, so he has 6 mana now, so there's no like Nautilus he can play or something. Are you kidding me? He dug up that already? He played the sea monster last turn. Oh god, I hope I don't lose because of that.
A cut above the rest.
Shroud the world in wings.
Are you kidding me, man?
So pretty.
As long as this survives and he can't kill it.
Just slouching.
I made a new deck. I call it completely degenerate. But I have like a 90% win rate over a bunch of games. Want to try it? Sure, give me the link. I just gotta hope he doesn't have another Vengeance. Alright, if I lose this, it would feel really bad because he completely pulled his win out of his ass. Alright, let's go. Vengeance me and I'll give it to you. No, this is it. It works or it doesn't. I don't have any... I have a guiding touch! If he steals another guiding touch... Okay, thank god. We actually got him. Man, that treasure trove almost did it for him.
So anyway, the Crimson package is great. Their thematics and voice lines are absolutely outstanding, but they deserve a better leader. Like I mentioned earlier, I have some ideas for ways the big boy in red Vladimir could be reworked. The first one is giving his level 1 form regeneration too. This is comparable to Garen, because they are both 5/5 units for 5 mana. Vladimir has an actual ability that does something though when you attack with him, so giving him regeneration could be seen as unfair when you look at Garen, who does nothing until you level him up. But honestly, Vladimir's ability can be seen as both an upside and a downside, since you're damaging your own units and dealing damage to the enemy nexus, which doesn't provide anything in the shape of board presence or damage on enemy units. I think this is a fair, but boring change.
Next idea is to change some of the Crimson units. The Crimson Aristocrat, for example, could deal 1 damage and give an allied unit tough instead of giving it +2 attack. Maybe shuffle around to her cost or stats a little bit to make it balanced too. And since having a lot of units on the board is necessary to make the most out of Vladimir, having a card with Brahm's level up effect would be quite good too. Something that summons another unit whenever they take damage. Even something as small as a 2-3 that summons a 1-1 every time they survive damage could make Vlad decks a lot more consistent to build that big board he wants to have when he attacks. Or the Crimson Awakener could do something like deal 1 damage to everything and then heal everything for 1. His stats would also need to be adjusted to make this fair though, but I think these are the kind of changes that will make Vladimir decks much more viable. My last idea is also my favorite, and it's to give one of your units regeneration when Vladimir is summoned. When he's leveled up, all units on the board while Vladimir is alive have regeneration. The only problem with this is that it might not work well in Noxus, because they typically have units that have much more attack than health, so regeneration wouldn't really fit in an aggressive region like that. Anyway, the idea behind this change is that the Crimson theme is kind of about how they are all Hemomancers, and they teach each other how to use blood magic. With Vladimir being the ultimate Hemomancer, it would be thematic for him to give his followers that regeneration, because they can make the most out of the ability since they keep generating value from it. If Riot releases Soraka, I would not be surprised to see exactly this effect on her to finally create a competitive Vladimir deck. This is definitely my favorite idea of all the suggestions, because this creates a lot more possibilities for deck combinations. This makes pairing him with Freljord even better, because they also have the self-damage units and they have health buffs which would work very well with regeneration too. Or pair it with Demacia, because they also have buff cards and their units have high health stats on average. This change could also move the deck away from being more of a zoo type deck to just having minions that are actually meaningful and can leverage the health buffs and regeneration. So that's the end of my rant. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video where I just give my thoughts on certain cards, regions, or specific decks. Let me know what you think, if you agree, disagree, or if you have any other ideas that are even better than the ones I mentioned. Also, I'd love to know if you want to see more of this type of content. For now though, thank you so much for sticking with me to the end, and I hope to see you guys next time.